Have you ever heard of a man who could diagnose illnesses, predict the future, and describe past lives, all while he was asleep? This isn't a science fiction movie. This is the true story of Edgar Cayce, the man they called the Sleeping Prophet. His life is one of the most documented and baffling psychic mysteries of the 20th century. Prepare to question everything you think you know about the human mind. Edgar Cayce was born in 1877 in rural Kentucky. He was a simple boy from a simple family, with no signs of the extraordinary life that awaited him. He loved reading the Bible, wandering through nature, and helping out on the family farm. Nothing about his early days suggested greatness or the controversy that would follow him his entire life. But even as a child, there were strange moments. He once mentioned he could see things that others couldn't. He described seeing lights around people, strange shadows, and flashes of images that he couldn't explain. He was just a kid, so he tried to ignore them, assuming it was normal. Then, at age 13, something happened that he couldn't ignore. He claimed he heard a voice clearly say, "Your mission is to help others." He had no idea what it meant or where it came from. As he grew into an adult, he was quiet, humble, and shy. He ended up working in a bookstore, just trying to make a living and pay his bills like anyone else. But destiny, it seemed, had far bigger plans for him. In the year 1900, at the age of 23, a mysterious illness struck. Edgar Cayce lost his voice. It wasn't just for a few days or a few weeks. Months went by, and he could barely speak above a whisper. Doctors were baffled. They tried every treatment they could think of. Medications, therapies, but nothing worked. He was on the verge of giving up his career and his future when a local hypnotist offered to try something unconventional, putting him into a trance. Desperate, Cayce agreed. And in that moment, his entire world changed. While he was unconscious, in a deep hypnotic state, he suddenly began to speak in a clear, normal voice. But what he said was astounding. He started describing his own medical condition, using complex medical terms and anatomical details that he, a man with only an 8th grade education, had never heard of. He explained the psychological root of the problem and then prescribed the exact cure. When he woke up, he had no memory of what he'd said, but the result was undeniable. His voice had returned, perfectly normal. Word of this miracle spread like wildfire through his small town. People began whispering about the strange man who knew things he shouldn't know. Soon, it wasn't just whispers. Strangers started lining up outside his door, asking for help. From 1901 until his death in 1945, Edgar Cayce performed over 14,000 documented psychic readings. His process was always the same. He would lie down on a couch, fold his hands across his chest, close his eyes, and enter a self-induced trance. And from that state, he would answer questions on any topic imaginable. A stenographer would sit in the room, writing down every single word he said. In these readings, he could diagnose complex illnesses for people he had never met, sometimes hundreds of miles away. He would predict future events, describe people's past lives in stunning detail, and answer profound spiritual questions. He had no conscious knowledge of any of it. Doctors, stumped by their most difficult cases, they began secretly bringing them to Cayce. People with chronic illnesses that modern medicine had failed to solve found hope in his readings. He gave them treatments and advice that were decades ahead of their time. For example, he constantly emphasized the link between the spine, the nervous system, and the health of internal organs, a core principle of modern chiropractic and osteopathic medicine. He prescribed specific diets to cure diseases, long before the phrase "you are what you eat" became popular. And he spoke about the importance of mental health, stress, and positive thinking and physical well-being. Cayce didn't just read the body, he read the soul. He spoke of concepts like karma, reincarnation, spiritual laws, and the power of thought to shape reality. These were ideas completely foreign, even radical, to early 20th century America. He became a figure of intense fascination. Some people worshipped him as a prophet, others feared him as a charlatan or a heretic, but no one could simply ignore him. Of course, with such extraordinary claims came intense criticism. The medical establishment accused him of being a fraud, a quack who was practicing medicine without a license. The scientific community dismissed his abilities as mere superstition or wishful thinking, and religious leaders condemned him for talking about concepts like reincarnation, which went against traditional Christian doctrine. But here is the crucial part of the story that his critics could never fully explain away. Every single reading was documented. They were typed up, cataloged, and verified by witnesses. Over 14,000 of them. To this day, researchers are still studying this massive archive of information. Why? because far too many of his readings proved to be astonishingly correct. So, what did he see? Let's look at some of his most famous predictions that came true, years before it happened. He warned his clients about a coming financial disaster, advising them to get out of the stock market. This was his prediction of the great stock market crash of 1929. He also spoke of rising tensions in Europe that would eventually erupt into a second, devastating global war. Accurately predicting the timeline for World War II, he described future breakthroughs in medical technology, including the ability to diagnose diseases from a single drop of blood and the use of energy-based healing methods, which prefigure things like laser surgery and light therapy. Decades before it was a mainstream concern, Cayce warned of dramatic shifts in the Earth's climate, leading to what we now call global warming, with melting polar ice caps and rising sea levels. He described ancient, submerged structures off the coasts of places like India and near the Bimini Islands, long before underwater archaeology discovered ruins in those exact areas. And perhaps most presciently, he envisioned a world connected by wireless information, where people could communicate instantly across vast distances. A description that sounds remarkably like the internet, so how did he do it? What was the secret behind his incredible mind? Scientists and researchers today still debate the possibilities. Some suggest it was a form of deep hypnosis, allowing him to access a hidden part of his mind. Others propose it was a state of dissociation, where his conscious identity stepped aside for another source of information to come through. Maybe it was a form of subconscious memory, a vast reservoir of everything he had ever seen or heard, reorganized in a brilliant way. Or was it true psychic ability, telepathy, clairvoyance? A direct connection to what some call the Akashic Records, a universal library of all knowledge. The simple truth is, no one knows for sure how Edgar Cayce did what he did. Even Cayce himself had no idea. He would wake up from his trances tired, with no memory of the profound wisdom he had just shared. It was as if he lived completely separate lives. One as a humble, ordinary man, and the other as a channel for the impossible. Edgar Cayce gave so many readings, often 2 or 3 a day, that it eventually took a toll on his health. He died in 1945, at the age of 67, literally exhausted from a life spent helping others. But his legacy didn't die with him. The organization he founded, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, or ARE, still exists today in Virginia Beach. It continues to study his 14,000 readings, making them available to scientists, doctors, psychologists, and spiritual seekers from all over the world who continue to explore the incredible mystery he left behind. The life of Edgar Cayce leaves us with a profound and humbling thought that the human mind and the universe itself may be far more powerful and far more mysterious than we can ever truly comprehend. Because while the rest of the world slept, Edgar Cayce woke up. This story makes me rethink what the human brain can truly do. Tell me your thoughts on Edgar Cayce, and if his story fascinated you too. Please like and subscribe for more unexplained life stories. See you in the next one.